Welcome back to our live training session. In this tutorial, we're going to jump in and complete our base map creation process. So up to this point, we've set up the inputs and outputs. We've verified all the inputs are calibrated. We've verified the outputs work. So we've tested everything. So we know that we're in a good position to be able to fire up our engine. However, we haven't accounted for every last detail in our base map. That's what we're going to be completing in this tutorial. We're going to go through, make sure that things like our fuel and spark timing, variable cam control are all configured 100% in terms of the actual table values, so that we have appropriate breakpoint scaling in our tables, we have appropriate values in our tables, so that when we do fire off the engine, we're going to have a good end result and minimize and cut down the calibration work during this calibrating tuning process. So let's jump in here. I am sitting in the vehicle right now. On my NSP screen, we can see we're streaming data here. So I am connected to the Haltech R3. My ignition key's powered on. We are in the online state and we're streaming our data. So we can see what this information looks like live here, and we're also sending the information as we're going through and changing things in our base file. We're sending that right to the Haltech. Now you don't need to be tied down to the car to do your base map creation process. You can do this offline, and then you can connect to the Haltech you're working with and then use the import feature. So if we go up here to the top under file and then we go in here to import upload, this will allow you to import the file you've built offline. As you get online with your Haltech box, allows you to import all that information, so you can essentially do this in the offline mode and then just pop it right into the car and then start the process of getting it to actually fire and run. But we're doing this live, so not really a big deal that we're doing it live, but I just wanted to note that you don't have to be tied down to the car to do the base map creation process. So you could be doing it on your couch or sitting at the kitchen table, following along to the tutorials and building your base file. Okay, so we're ready now to jump in here and start to dig into certain sections in our navigation tree to really make sure we've covered all the details. So far, we haven't touched anything in the fuel tuning or ignition tuning area. We have touched a few functions or a couple functions in the engine function tab, but we need to go in and verify everything here is set correctly. Under electrical, I think we've covered everything, and transmission, we're probably gonna have to go through a couple things. Vehicle functions, I think we've covered everything we need to in there relating to the vehicle. And generics, we have set some things up. We're not using any CAN base connections, so we can see the cans grayed out. Everything here is going to be just wired directly into this R3. I have enough input outputs. I don't need an expansion box or an external wideband controller that's CAN based. So we've accounted for a lot of things, but again, we haven't done anything with fuel, ignition, and some of these other little details we need to make sure are 100% to call our base map ready to go to actually fire up our engine and start tuning. So what I'm going to do right now is jump from our fuel tuning page. Let's go over to main. And I go in here to our fuel tuning area. So we need to go through all of the details in here to be able to account for injector data, to be able to account for setting up our volumetric efficiency modeling here correct. A lot of things we need to toggle on, verify that are set up correctly. So we're going to go through all of that here in this training module. We're going to cover a lot of details. So let's jump in here to our fuel tuning area and let's talk about a few things. So the tuning method right now is set to volumetric efficiency. We have some other options, but I usually tune VE based within the Haltech system, so I'm going to grab the volumetric efficiency in the drop-down. So we have our fuel table here based on volumetric efficiency. All right. The next thing we have is our auto VE air temp compensation. I do want to toggle this on. This incorporates the charge temperature reading into my volumetric efficiency modeling and the airflow modeling. Essentially gives a direct input for air density coming from our parameter called charge temperature. Now we're actually going to talk about the charge temperature here in a little bit, charge temp table specifically in a little bit. So we have some reasonable starting values in there, but we do want to include this. Now if you do toggle this option on here, we want to make sure under the corrections that we're going to be turning off air temp correction, because we don't need an air temp correction table if we're directly accounting for and compensating for the charge temperature in our volumetric efficiency model. So we don't need both present, so let's turn off air temp correction. I'm also going to turn off overall correction while we're in here, but we will keep on coolant temp correction and post-start correction because those are going to be useful. So let's go back in here to fuel tuning. Now the fuel type, if we were just tuning on petrol fuel, we'd leave it as petrol, but we are actually going to be tuning with flex fuel. So we have a flex fuel sensor in our fuel system. We've configured that already. We're going to go ahead and then note this as flex fuel. What this is going to do is take a look at the ethanol content reading and establish what our fuel stowage should be based on the ethanol content in our fuel system. So if we have 85% ethanol, our fuel stowage would be about 9.8 to 1. If we're on pure petrol, we're going to be a fuel stowage of 14.7 to 1. And what that's going to do is feed into our fueling model, so airflow and fuel model, and it'll correct for and have a background multiplier based around the ethanol content by changing the fuel stowage. All right, so it accounts for the fueling portion of our ethanol compensation as we want to go and vary the ethanol content or ethanol amount in our fuel system. So we're going to go ahead and select that. The fuel load type, we have some options here, but estimated map sensor is what I'm going to choose. Fuel pressure input type, map referenced or constant. So if you have a returnless style fuel system, or you have an external fuel pressure regulator, you don't have a vacuum reference to the regulator, you will choose a constant pressure option. In this case, I have a Bosch external fuel pressure regulator, so it's a fixed fuel pressure regulator. It's actually a radium housing with a Bosch 300 kPa fixed fuel pressure hat or fuel pressure diaphragm assembly, and I have a vacuum line that's referencing the fuel pressure regulator. So it's going to be operating at a 1-to-1 ratio. So vacuum, we have our engine vacuum pulling more vacuum on the engine, or the engine's pulling more vacuum, I should say. It's going to go ahead and lower the fuel pressure through the regulator, and if we get into boost, it's going to raise the fuel pressure. It's going to do this at a 1-to-1 ratio. So every pound of manifold pressure change, it changes the fuel pressure at that same 1 psi increase or decrease. This is important because it actually allows us to get a lot more out of our fuel system. It actually gives us better control over really large injectors. So in this case, I am going to be using map reference because my external fuel pressure regulator is tied into my intake manifold, allowing it to reference vacuum or pressure. Base fuel pressure. And in this case, my Bosch fuel pressure regulator, it's a fixed OEM style regulator that's mounted into the radium housing. That's a 300 kPa regulator. So 43.5 is the equivalent of 300 kPa, and that's what I'm going to put here for my base pressure. There's an enable flood clear mode. What this allows you to do is floor the throttle. It turns off the fuel injectors if you suspect that you're getting too much fuel under cranking conditions and flooding out the engine. We don't want that on. It is useful, so I'll go keep this toggled on here. Then we have our conditional base tables. There's a cranking fuel table, which we do want to have on. Cranking fuel is very important to make sure that we have cranking fuel when we're trying to fire off the engine. And we need to vary that based on ethanol content and based on coolant temperature. So we definitely want that on. Now under the functions, O2 control, we definitely want the O2 control on. The O2 control is going to allow us to have that closed loop lambda feedback. Taking a look at the actual onboard lambda sensor here from the Haltech R3, or if you have a CAN-based lambda controller, or if you're wiring it in analog-based, doesn't matter. It'll allow you to take a look at the air fuel lambda reading, compare it to the target air fuel, and then it's going to make adjustments to get you to the target air fuel, or target lambda. So we do want O2 control to turn on. We also have transient throttle and prime pulse. Now, the option here for map prediction, fuel film enable, is toggled off. This is a better option, and it usually gives us better modeling for our tip-in throttle, so any kind of Excel enrichment. We want to turn that on, but if we turn this on, we want to turn on the transient throttle classic off. Either will work here, and sometimes on some setups, I will use a transient throttle option rather than the map prediction. I know everybody uses the map prediction now, and it definitely works well, but there are some unique situations that I find I can get the Excel fueling much better using the transient. So let's go ahead and reboot the ECU. The prime pulse I am going to be leaving on here. The prime pulse is going to be delivering a huge shot of fuel before we actually get the engine to fire. So the first essentially cranking revolution is going to hit the engine with a large pulse of fuel that's going to, in the hopes of trying to get the engine to fire for a little bit quicker. So we're going to leave it on. You can try to initially kind of get things going with it off and then turn it on, see if it helps starting. Sometimes it doesn't help much, but I'll go ahead and leave it on. There's also a pre-crank prime pulse, which I'm going to not use. This actually is going to be anytime you power on the Haltech, it'll go and just have a squirt of fuel before you even crank over the engine. So this can sometimes be useful on certain applications. I shouldn't need it for this, so I'm going to leave that off. All right, so now let's jump in here to the navigation pane or navigation tree. And let's start to go through some of the tables here. We haven't set up any of the table details yet, so we're going to go through this one by one and just work our way from the top of our fuel here all the way to the bottom of the window and allow us to go then next into ignition tuning and go through all those details. So let's jump in here. Let's take a look at our target lambda. So the target lambda table here is going to specify what we want our target air fuel, target lambda to be at. Now, depending on what units you're working with here in the Haltech, it's either going to be in petrol air fuel scale or in actual units of lambda. Units of lambda actually make a little bit more sense here, so let's just go in and set that up. Now, you may not be familiar with units of lambda, so if you're in the US, you're probably used to talking about units of air fuel. Lambda is actually a better method of measuring our oxygen content in our exhaust stream as we're having our combustion from the sensor, and you'll find that actually all widebands read in units of lambda natively, and then they convert to something like the petrol air fuel scale that you're used to looking at when you look at a wideband gauge in your car. So we can leave it on this if you want, or you can change it to preferences, unit options, and you can change it over here to...
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.